building that community of people for myself that can share methods like we've done on this podcast. Sure, we throw a lot of entertainment in there for you guys. We want you to laugh, but we also want you to learn. Hey, I just want to thank you for being there for me recently.
Of course, dude. That's what friends are for.
Yeah, so what I'm talking about is I had to have a colonoscopy because, hey, I'm getting to that age, and colon rectal cancer does run in my family, and I've had some issues because, hey, we don't need to be shy about it, guys, or be emasculated, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I had this real fear because they sedate you, they put you under, and, like I was talking about with my girlfriend and with you, with my sponsor, I was afraid that it might trigger a relapse.
So how so? Walk me through that. Because your issue wasn't with pain meds or anything like that,
No.
which is what they'd given you. It was with alcohol. So walk me through how that would trigger you.
Well, and I think it was kind of, and even some of the conversations that we've had, like the recent guest, Sam, where in his book, he's talking about that. He had the surgery for his neck. And granted, he did struggle with a variety of drugs, but he talked about in there like, oh, I'm really liking this, and to let people know what I got did include fentanyl in it, which in a proper setting where it's medical doctors and it's legal and it's the right dose.
It's not a drug dealer cutting it with coke.
No.
These are pros. They know what they know how much to give you,
Yes.
all that. Yeah.
Yes. And
not to cut you off, your issue wasn't with fentanyl, pain meds, anything like that. So that's a plus as well.
No, I did do some pill popping at a time, but I wasn't a pill fan.
It wasn't your thing.
No, I do remember, I don't remember if we've talked about it, crushing pills up and snorting them or whatever, but it was like once or twice maybe. And it always was coupled with drinking. It was never something I just did by itself and then went and drank or whatever it was. But it had me scared because I'm like, life is going pretty good, and the things that aren't good have become manageable. I'm not saying I don't have anxiety. I suffer from anxiety much like you do, Mikey.
Oh, like a motherfucker.
So it brought up a lot of fear that, like, wow, things are going really good. I'm good with myself. I'm doing work to continue to improve. I'm in a really great relationship. I'm in a good place with that. My relationship with my kids, the bond, we continue to grow and have them growing as people and seeing them wanting it. Our work, we're having growth here. So I was afraid of this thing, like, fucking everything up, like all of a sudden having that desire again to drink, because to be honest, they put the medicine in and I was out pretty quick. And for me, when drinking at night, it was always to get away from pain and to get that same result, to like be out. I didn't want to be up. I didn't want to party. This is near the end when I started really going, I need help. It was to simply put me to sleep so I didn't have to deal anymore and just like check out in that way, which didn't always end up being the results. Oftentimes I sent a lot of stupid text messages or drove or did a lot of stupid shit that there's no way I'm connected to that behavior anymore. So I had a lot of fear.
So you had fear. I'm just trying to get on the same page with you. So you had a lot of fear that you were going to wake up from being put under saying, fuck, I need a drink.
Yeah.
Why?
That I liked it and that it made me,
So if you liked it, it wasn't fear that you were going to wake up and be like, fuck, that fentanyl was good. I want some more. It wasn't that.
Yeah.
It was, I liked what to make you want to drink.
I liked the way it made me feel, or even subconsciously that it triggered something in my mind that really liked that, and it made me miss that feeling of escapism that I sought with alcohol.
I get that.
And that everything that has been going really good with life would stop, that I would fuck it up. So
that's all your anxiety talking.
Well, I know.
That's all that is. That's all that is your anxiety just fucking with your head. Depression is the past, anxiety is the future, and your mind was playing tricks on you. That's what it does. That's the wonderful cards we were dealt. And so I get it. It's scary. And I'll have to go through that in about 7 years. I suck at math. Yeah, in about 7 years, to get my random check. Luckily, that does not run in my family, but I'll still get it checked just to, stay on top of it and whatnot. So, but I get that. Yeah. I understand that. But on the plus side is that happened on a Friday?
On a Friday.
And we are filming this on a Monday. And you're golden, baby.
Yeah, a little.
And you're golden.
Still slightly sore, but, hey, not too bad. Shout out to Dr. Chris, because it's just an amazing doctor and his whole staff, and we're laughing and joking prior. And
we can joke about it now because everything's good now.
Yeah.
Everything's
as far
good
as
now.
I know, I haven't gotten any sort of immediate call like, you need to come see us now.
And you probably would have, because it's fairly recent turnover for results.
I got it was about 2 weeks after the procedure was done. So from the time of the procedure to when I'll go in for my checkup on it, and they'll talk about the results and whatever they found and everything else.
So I think the $1 million question is after this was done, did you guys go to dinner?
He was he put me out first, so I don't have to remember. I don't know. I didn't have as far as dates go, not to get dark. There wasn't blood left after too many, first dates, but this one would have been. Hey, guys, just part of the thing. And I really want to talk on that, too, is that, one of my favorite voices in metal, Ronnie James Dio, who, of course, died from this.
Ride the tiger.
And, he said, had I put my masculinity and pride aside, I probably wouldn't be in the situation I am. So that's my little PSA is man, it's a necessary thing.
It's life, dude.
Yeah, don't let your pride get in the way. Get these things checked out, especially if you have a family history of it. Be on top of it, because these kind of cancers are preventable if they catch it early enough, and early detection is so important with anything. But anyways, that's my rant with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fear and anxiety that I'm doing good and this thing could fuck it up. And like you said, anxiety about it. And yes, I'm here.
Well, and touching on the masculinity thing, it's you could be all Mr. Macho, masculinity and all that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is your health. Yeah. You can have as much money in the world. You could have endless amounts in your bank account, but if you don't have your health, then all of that is just absolutely pointless. So to stay on top of it like you have been doing, and what we urge others to do as well, is to stay on top of this, because you only get one shot at this life thing, man. Yeah. And if you're not on top of it, you could just as well be fucked. I had a friend of mine whose mom went in for just a random checkup for breast cancer because it runs in her family. And they found something, and she does have breast cancer. Mm. And she didn't feel any lump or anything like that. It was just a routine checkup. And luckily for her, they caught it early, so it is going to be very treatable. And she, prayers up, but that she will be fine, which I'm confident she will be. Mm. But it just goes to show you got to stay on top of these things, because if your health is fucked, then, so are you. And you have the opportunity to check on it early, or if you have the opportunity to check on it early, then do so. And
I think it's a big part, too, for me about having not taken care of myself for so long, is that's really been a big part over this last about year or so, is doing the work to get in and start to care about myself. I hadn't been to the dentist in a decade and a half. I mean, it had been that fucking long. At the dentist, luckily, not too much problem. Couple of fillings, regular checkup, getting, my prostate checked. All these things, because it's I'm finally living a life that I'm enjoying. I like my life. I go home now, and my home feels like a home, a safe place for me, my kids, my girlfriend when she's there, and work. I love what we do. I'm passionate about what we do. I love the partner that I work with in this. I love the people that aren't seen on camera with you and I that we work with. And it's just everything is really good. So it's that mindset, because I've thought I was in a good place before and I fucked it up. And it's like, I don't want to be a fuck up anymore.
That's just life though, man. It's life lessons. And through your life, you've learned lessons, which is why you're in the spot you're in now as far as being happy.
Yeah.
Commendable.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. How you doing with the anxiety? You been doing okay?
It fucking sucks. It's there. It's always there. It's always there. And it's, we talk to people who are like, I know my triggers, so I do what I can to avoid my triggers. I don't fucking know my triggers.
Really?
I will literally just be sitting down at home on the couch watching my favorite fucking show ever, and boom, a wave just hits me. And I'm not even focused on like anything else besides Michael Scott on The Office. I'm just, focusing on that. And then boom, all of a sudden, my chest gets tight. I feel like I can't breathe. I have no idea what my triggers are. Health is good. Family's good. Love my job. There's money in my bank account. Bills are paid. Anxiety's there. Yeah. And it's just the cards are dealt. I don't understand it. I don't know what I do to cope with it. So I get up and walk around, splash cold water in my face. Or if the attack happens, then literally just go into a dark room in the fetal position and just wait for it to pass.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know. And it's just kind of like, I wish I did know. I've gotten so many checkups at doctor's offices and all this stuff. I've had things looked at, and they're, thank God with all those things as far as money and a job and all that stuff. And thank God that, family's healthy, as am I. But it's just kind of like, I just wish I knew what my triggers were so I would be able to avoid it, but I don't. Yeah. So the show must go on. So I just kind of do what I can to keep on trucking, if you will, and just try to keep my mind busy. And mind you, it's not, well, you're probably sitting at home watching TV. That's why you get it. You got to go out and do something. It's like, no, I'm always doing something. That I just mean like it could be as simple as me sitting home watching TV and then anxiety. I used to get anxiety long drives.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like you're sitting there with your thoughts, focusing on the road, listening to music, and then I would get anxiety. That I get because I'm just thinking. I'm just in my head, but like when we're busy, when we're traveling, when we're interviewing people, it's not so much there. Like you haven't really caught me in an anxiety
panic attack.
You haven't seen me in any kind of panic attacks when we're on the road because we're busy. We're constantly doing something.
Sure.
Even in LA traffic, I don't get anxiety because I'm a good driver. I trust myself when I'm driving, so I don't trip. I'm always looking out for the other person. Like I'm not worried about that. And things that you would think would cause anxiety are not the things that give me anxiety.
Do you think maybe the downtime does? And maybe.
I mean, maybe that could be it.
Or you know what? I and just a thought, and you could be like, no, fucker, shut up.
Hit me.
Is it, I remember you talking about The Office being a show that you watched, and I don't remember if it was when you were using drugs that it was connected or post that. Do you think maybe even a subconscious connection to The Office at times that maybe it's like, I know my mind will flash back to shit at times.
Good question. And Office was before all of that, before I even started using drugs or had anxiety.
Okay.
I think, The Office was, I don't remember what year it came out, but I graduated high school in 2007.
Okay.
And my drugs didn't, I had been drinking since I was like fucking 13, but that wasn't really an issue. But as far as drugs and stuff, that didn't come into play till like 2008, the year after high school.
Okay.
And I'd been watching The Office before that. I get your question though.
Sure.
And The Office was just an example. Like it could be Modern Family or The
Sure.
Sopranos or anything on TV, and I'll just have, some kind of anxiety thing. Talking about it, it could possibly be, where I'm not doing anything is when anxiety sits in, but there's going to be times in your life where you're not doing anything.
Sure.
Like when I'm in bed laying down trying to go to sleep. Like I can't stay busy then because I'm not one of those people who are lucky enough to where my head hits the pillow and I just knock out. No, it's not. I need so much time to unwind. When I'm in bed, it's at least an hour before I go to sleep.
Right.
Even, no matter how tired I am, maybe 30 minutes.
Right.
But for the most part, I need some time to chill. So the mystery fucking continues, bro, as far as this whole game of anxiety. But, what are you going to do?
Yeah, there's two things in there that you brought up. Yeah, when you're in bed, you are limited to your options. You're sleeping, You're maybe watching TV, reading a book, or you're,
punching the clown,
getting it on or something. And the other thing that was funny was you go, well, I was drinking about 13. That wasn't the problem, though, because I'm thinking about my son. Think about my son if I came to you and went, I caught him drinking. Like
my parents did catch me the first time. They did catch me. Did I tell you that story?
No.
We were at a wedding. It was a family friend's wedding, and I was 13 years old, and I'm a teenager. I'm a fucking teenager now. And my mom is the most introverted extrovert like myself. So when she's out in a public setting, she's the life of the party. She talks to everybody. Right. Everybody knew her because she was a banker. So everybody knew who she was. And I'll never forget it. I'm sitting right next to her, and I'm bored as shit. Me and my sister are sitting next to each other. We don't know anybody. We're just like, fuck, this is boring. And my mom was sitting like this, talking to somebody, and she had Jack Daniels and 7-Up. Some would call it, 7 and 7, but it was Seagrams. It's Jack Daniels and 7-Up. Right. So JD and 7. Some wouldn't call it 7 and 7. That was a lie. JD and 7. That's what it was. So she was sitting like this talking, she had her drink, and then she would turn to her friend, and then she would talk to her friend, and then I would just grab her drink, and then I would take a couple sips, and I'm like, oh, that tastes good. That was really good. And then so she would continue to do that, and then before I knew it, I had polished off the whole drink. And she would be talking to her friend, and then she'd look back at her drink. She's like, oh, I'm empty. Sir, can I get another one? And then she'd order another one, go back to talking to her friends. This happened about 4 or 5 drinks deep. I had 5 drinks of Jack Daniels and 7-Up my first time ever drinking alcohol. So my tolerance had always been pretty high. Wow. Because that was the first time I've ever drank in. And I wasn't like, I've never been the kind of person to where I would drink, I'd be slurring, falling all over the place, just looking like a complete idiot. I was never that type.
No, I've never seen you that
never.
Way. When I did drink.
Like, I could be talking to you blackout hammered, but we'll still carry on a conversation. I just won't remember any of it. But like, I've always, and which is a good thing and a bad thing, because when you're slurring and falling over the place and you're a dick to somebody, they give you the benefit of the doubt. They're like, he's just fucking hammered. Don't take anything he says seriously. But when you're like me, I'm looking at you dead in the eyes, having a full-blown conversation, and you don't realize that I'm hammered. So you could think, oh, this guy's a fucking asshole. Right. You know what I mean? But back to the wedding thing. My mom finally caught on when I was on like I am not drinking this much. Where does it keep going? And then I'm just kind of sitting there, and I looked at her, and she was like, oh my gosh, Mikey, you have got to be kidding. When we get home, blah, blah, was one of those things. So my dad didn't know. He was out, walking with his friends or whatever. Then he came back, and he was like, I got to use the restroom. Do you got to go? I'm like, yeah. So I went in there, and he was talking to me when we were in the restroom, and then I look at him, and I just kind of smile, and my eyes are kind of, a little glazed over. And he was like, and he smelt me. He was like, are you drunk? And I was like, yeah. It's just the kind of relationship I have with my dad. Now, some people listening will probably be like, what kind of shitty fucking parenting is that? You're not beat. It's like, we were in a very public setting. My ass got beat when I got home. Right. Not there. So relax. I was disciplined and all that stuff. Moral of the story is, yes, that's the first time I drank. But it wasn't like every fucking day since I was 13 to 33 now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have a couple drinks here and there. And you know me, I could turn it off. Yeah. I can have, 2 drinks on a Saturday, not drink again for 3 months. I can get absolutely hammered one day and not touch the stuff again for another 3 months. Yeah. Or just have 1 beer with dinner, and that's that.
Yeah. No, you've
never been an issue.
No, you've been that way, and it's always nice for me. It's probably to your nauseum when I talk about it, like who I will and won't be around and whatever it is. It's like when we have gone places and you've had a couple of beers and maybe even up to 4, it's still the same Mikey, and it's controlled, and it's not like the 4th one gets in you. Dude, we're in LA. Let's go find LeBron. Yeah, it's like it doesn't come unhinged and I don't want LeBron.
I'm a Warriors fan, baby. I fuck with G State.
Yeah. So no, I appreciate it. But anyways, man, I wanted to have this conversation to not only thank you for being there for me,
of course,
my sponsor. I know he tends to listen and everything, but let people know, have those support groups, have those things in place, and there's no shame to just communicate that with people that you trust. You know, I'm sharing this, of course, with, you know, you, the audience, and everybody else. But, you know, as far as whom I reached out to, it was, you know, less than 4 people to let them know.
But that's 4 more than some have.
Yeah.
And you have a, you know, loving family. You go home, you got your kids, you got your girl, you're in a good spot, you got a job you love. So it's like the odds were in your favor.
Yeah.
But the anxiety was the one fucking you up.
Yeah.
And those are the cards we were dealt, and that we're going to have to live with. It's never going to go away.
Yeah.
It could be dulled. It could be muted, if you will, but it'll always be there. And that's fine.
Sure.
We understand that, and we acknowledge that, and we accept that. And it's just how we deal with it. I could take my own advice because, you know, sometimes I don't know how to deal with it. Well, I deal with it to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
And you have that, as do I. You know, if I'm going through something where I'm just like, fuck, this is bad, I need to fucking talk to somebody, I know I can call you.
Yeah.
There's literally a handful of people that I can call, you being one of them. So that's what friends are for. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And you made it out. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Or have you changed a little bit? I haven't been the same since.
I haven't been the same since. A little bit of pain, and
Sure.
you know, just to be honest with anyone that gets it checked out, hey, it comes with it. You know,
yeah.
I went for a reason earlier. I'm not yet at the standard where they say 45. You know, pre-existing conditions within the family, or, you know, family history. And I did have some conditions and issues, and I wanted them addressed, and the doc addressed the issues and comforted me. So, you know, it's just a part of this continual thing of wanting to better take care of my health. I mean, I've reached out to so many past guests have become people that, you know, talking back and forth. Skinny Vinny and I check in with each other every now and then on, you know, how we doing with our recovery. Tim Lodgen, who was on recently about health tips, diet tips. You know, my girlfriend and I, we've committed ourselves to eating cleaner, and we're taking steps. It's not just a overnight kind of thing, you know. So it's a process that goes along with other things. One of the people that it has been for me, in addition to my sponsor, that it has been just beautiful and become a friend, has become Tony Hoffman, that I highly recommend going back and listening to that episode. That guy has been an amazing ear to me over the last year, you know, in when I was really struggling, that I do not want to fall off again. I cannot live a life falling off again, because not only does it make me disingenuous with this, but just in my life, and I will go back to toxic people. And so, you know, it's just like building that community of people for myself that can share methods like we've done on this podcast. You know, sure, we throw a lot of entertainment in there for you guys. We want you to laugh, but we also want you to learn, and, you know, and maybe there's something from everybody that you're catching. And through that, you know, I've been able to make really bonds in a support group with people, and it's been a fucking blessing. I mean, I just feel like the luckiest dude. So that was my fear. Yeah. I cannot relapse. And not that it was putting pressure on me, like looking in the mirror like, you can, if you relapse, you're a piece of shit or something. It wasn't that. It was just like, life is so good, I don't want that feeling to be there anymore. You know, I want, like how Sonny was talking, choice. And I'm finally in that place of choice, you know, where it's like, yeah, I could go drink. I could lie. No one would know. You know, my girlfriend and I had this conversation, which normally maybe that'll scare some people in relationships. Not her, man. She was thankful. I was like, you know, when I was talking about this, I'm like, because I know, like, you know, we don't live together yet, but I could be like on a Friday night, you know, like, I'm tired, I'm just going to go to bed early. We have that kind of relationship. We don't put an expectation or pressure on each other, or, you know, you need to be there when I want you to at every moment, you know. And I could if I had those feelings. And so I am grateful, and I wanted to share that because I came through this saying, no, it's not a major procedure. You know, it's a thing that needed to be done. It's a checkup. Women go through it like twice a year, guys. We can do it where poor women get their boobs smashed in a mammogram machine, and as I call it, the duck bill, and get checked. And, you know, so we can do these kind of things. But it was just coming out, having, like you said, an anxiety and a fear that I would come out of it. And that part of me that used to be like the best feeling, the thing I loved the most, was when I got about 4 beers in me until the blackout moment of up to 12 to 20 beers or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? So that was the fear, and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And expressing and being open and vulnerable about those anxieties and fears to you, my friend, to my girlfriend, I believe my sponsor for sure, and I believe I did communicate that with Tony Hoffman. I don't recollect, but we've talked about it since. So, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to be able to be in a place of speaking that truth. So, hopefully people, you just keep doing it, whatever it is, mental health issue, addiction issue, like with me, all our guests that have gone through it, people that man, it's a great thing to just say, I need help. And it could be as simple as just to share. I mean, I sent you a text message and, I'd read it to people, but my phone's across the room, and it meant a lot to me. So thank you.
Well, not to mention, I didn't know, I haven't been put under.
Right.
Thank goodness thank God I've never had to, go through anything to where I need to be put under, which I'm sure I will be when I get mine, when I'm 40. But I didn't know when to text you. That's what I was telling you. It's like, I know you're going to be loopy coming out of it. So like, how long do I give it? I don't have your chick's number, so I didn't want to text her. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know when's the right time to hit him. And then you shot me a text. I'm like, okay, good. All right. Everything's good now.
See, I couldn't remember because I'm still it was like a day or two. They said you'll have some brain fog.
Oh yeah.
Maybe some little memory things or stuff like that. Like, I don't remember. I remember waking up. I know I got myself dressed, and and the lady going, hey, do you want a wheelchair? And I stand up, that male pride. I'm like, no, I'll be. And I sat back on the bed. Yeah, yes, please. And then the next thing I remember was being in my girlfriend's car, being driven home.
Oh yeah, dude.
So
my brother-in-law was just recently put under. He got some teeth pulled, and his brother took him home, and I was there because I was watching the baby, and he came in and he looked just tired. But mind you, he had just come off a 16-hour shift, and right when he got off, he went to go get the surgery, and then after the surgery was done, he was just gonna knock out for however long he needed. So he just looked tired, but he came off a 16-hour shift. So I'm talking to him, and he was super responsive. He was answering everything, blah blah blah. And I'm just kind of like, well, he seems fine. And it's weird so I shoot out to the pharmacy, get all of his meds, obviously, because he can't drive. And then I'm waking him up because you need to take this pill. I had literally been gone for 20 minutes. I'm like, you need to take this pill right now to avoid infections, all that. And he was just like, all right. So, I walk him to the bathroom. He's still kind of, weird. So I walk him to the bathroom. We change his gauze in his mouth. I make sure he takes this pill. Put the gauze back in his mouth, a new one, obviously, more fresh gauze, and then put him back to bed. And then, the next day goes by, and my sister and I were talking to him about it, and I was just like, yeah, we changed it, gave him his pills and all. And he was like, you did? And I was like, yeah. You don't remember that? He goes, no. He goes, I don't remember any of that. I was like, do you remember your brother taking you home? And he was just like, nope. And I'm just like, damn, that shit's no joke.
Right?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy. So, do you remember texting me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I did. I don't remember that I immediately did. Mm-hmm. I believe that Cassie, my girlfriend,
name drop,
had said, who did you need to let know? Oh, I was gonna let Mikey know, and I think you don't. So I remembered the next day. I looking at my phone. Oh, good, I did text him, but I didn't remember in that moment. Was it legible? I mean,
it was fine. You seemed completely fine. That's why I was so surprised. Like, damn, this fool was put under, and he's pretty responsive, and like everything was spelled right, and you never spelled shit right. If anything, it made your grammar better. So that's why I was just kind of like, damn, all right, that was cool. That right on. He's good now. My weekend can go on, because it was in the back of my head like, when the fuck do I text him? He's got to be done by now. I just don't know when to text him. And then you text me. I'm like, all right, cool.
My only other trippy thing of it was, and I've never had this before, I think it's called the vagus nerve response. So and she was a sweetheart, but for whatever reason, she couldn't find my vein on my arm on the inside. And so she was kind of digging a little bit to put the IV in, and she kind of hit something, and that triggered. Then she tried on the back of my right hand, and she just couldn't get it. And she's like, "I'll let the doc do it. He's really great at this." And I have never had this before, and it's probably because I hadn't at this point eaten for over 24 hours. It's going on like 26 hours I hadn't eaten because you got to completely clear your system out. And I broke out in the worst sweats, dizzy, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I looked at her and she goes, "Oh, you've turned white. No, you are not okay." She got me something in case I was going to throw up, and all I do remember this going, I don't think there's any fucking thing in me to throw up.
Wait, why did you turn white?
Because where she hit she hit some stuff in my arm, like the muscle or tendon, and it made me jump. This is a guy that I'm like, getting more tattoos and everything.
I was going to say, the
doesn't bother me.
Never find my veins because of tattoos.
So doctor found it perfect on my left arm, no problem. And then once they put the meds in, I was out. Like, supposedly I asked, did you ask me to count? We did. How'd I do? And they're like, you didn't even make it to counting. You were out.
Oh, wow.
So, but it cold sweats, dizzy, like shaking. I was like, oh man, okay, this is a whole new thing. And I'm going to probably guess it. And they say it's common because I hadn't eaten in a day and a half, roughly almost. So it was pretty wild. But again, great medical staff. I'm fine and all that stuff. But who knows? So anyways, we'll do some more of these bonus episodes. Those that are following us at Knocking Doors Down on Facebook and Instagram, at KDD Media Company on Twitter. Thank you. We've been getting a lot of retweets, people storing stuff. I've even seen a couple of, I think, repost tags and things using that. So thank you. It helps us continue to grow and end that stigma around addiction and mental health issues. And hopefully you get a lot out of it, at least some laughs, because we've had some really great guests. So Mikey and I will do some more of these bonus episodes as we have different ideas or past episodes and guests that inspire us. So
that's right.
Anything else, Uncle Mikey?
No, I'm going home.
On that note, keep knocking doors down.